The news hit the sister wives community like a shockwave. After months of silence and years of holding her emotions together, Meri Brown finally revealed a major life change that no one, not even her most dedicated followers, saw coming. Fans who have watched her journey from the very beginning paused, stared at their screens, and whispered the same question: did Meri really just do that? Yes. She did. For over a decade, viewers watched Meri fade into the background. Her voice was softened, her needs pushed aside, her feelings ignored, and her reality constantly reframed to make her look like she was holding on to something already broken. She stayed silent, she stayed patient, and she stayed hopeful long after everyone else had given up for her. But today, something shifted. Something inside her unlocked. And with one unexpected announcement, Meri Brown changed the entire direction of her life. This isn't a small update. This isn't just a move, a business project, or a new chapter. This is a complete transformation, a choice that pulls the curtain back on years of unspoken pain and reveals a woman who is finally stepping into her own power. Fans are shocked, confused, emotional, and strangely proud all at once. This is the Meri they always believed she could be: strong, self-aware, and unafraid. But this announcement didn't come out of nowhere. It was building quietly. Slowly. Through subtle posts, mysterious captions, unusual behavior, and a new energy fans couldn't quite identify at the time. Looking back, the clues were all there. But the real story behind this major life change is far deeper and far more surprising than anyone expected. Because what Meri revealed isn't about Kody. It isn't about the other wives. It's not about TLC, or even the sister wives storyline. This time, it's about Meri choosing herself. And now everyone wants to know what exactly pushed her to this point. Was it a new relationship? A new home? A new identity she has finally embraced? Or something so unexpected that it completely reshapes how fans see her? Trust me. What Meri just revealed will leave you speechless. Before Meri made her announcement, something unusual started happening on her social media. It was subtle at first, almost easy to ignore, but for fans who pay attention to every detail, the shift was impossible to miss. Meri wasn't posting the same way she used to. The sad quotes were gone. The quiet, isolated selfies were gone. Even the tired, polite captions about strength, growth, and moving on had started to disappear. Instead, there was something new. Something different. Something almost peaceful. The first real clue came on a random Tuesday morning. Meri posted a picture of herself outdoors, standing in the sunlight with a half smile, not forced, but genuine. Her caption wasn't emotional or vague. It wasn't about heartbreak or lessons learned. It was a single line that made fans pause. "I'm done pretending." Those 3 words lit up every Sister Wives forum on the internet. Done pretending? Pretending what? Pretending she was still tied to a man who no longer saw her? Pretending the family dynamic still included her? Pretending she was okay when she clearly wasn't? No one knew. But everyone felt it. Then came the second clue. Later that week, Meri posted a photo of a packed suitcase sitting by the door. No explanation. No location. No context. Just the suitcase and the caption, "Time for a change." Fans immediately started speculating. Was she traveling? Moving? Leaving Flagstaff? Visiting someone special? Or was this the beginning of something much bigger? The third clue was the one that really made people talk. Meri posted a picture of her home, but the living room looked emptier than before. A few missing items. A wall decoration gone. A shelf cleared off. And the caption was even stranger. "Sometimes you have to let go, even when it's hard." That was when fans realized something was happening behind the scenes, something Meri wasn't ready to say out loud yet. But the biggest clue came during a live video. Meri was answering random questions, smiling more than usual, speaking with a confidence fans hadn't heard in years. And then, without thinking, she said something that slipped out before she could catch it. "I'm finally choosing me this time." She froze for a moment, like she realized she said too much. She laughed it off. She changed the subject. But viewers caught it instantly. They replayed it. They clipped it. They analyzed every word. That sentence became the moment fans realized a major life shift was coming long before Meri publicly announced anything. She wasn't the same Meri who clung to a dying marriage. She wasn't the same Meri who begged to be seen. She wasn't the same Meri who held on to the hope that Kody would change. Something inside her had changed. And whatever was coming next was going to be big. The real turning point, the moment everything shifted for Meri, didn't happen on social media. It didn't happen on the show. It didn't even happen in a conversation with Kody or the other wives. It happened quietly, privately, behind a closed door, when Meri realized something she had been denying for years. It happened on a night she later described as the moment I woke up. According to someone close to her, Meri had been sitting alone in her living room, surrounded by old documents, photos, and memories she had packed away for years. She was sorting through boxes, deciding what to keep and what to throw out. Inside one of those boxes, she found something that stopped her in her tracks. A journal. Not one of hers, but one given to her years ago by a close friend. Inside the journal was a handwritten note that she had completely forgotten about. It said, "You can't rebuild your life until you stop living in the ruins of your old one." For Meri, those words felt like a punch to the chest. For years, she waited for someone else to change. Kody. The family. The situation. The dynamic. The love she never received. She kept telling herself that if she was patient enough, kind enough, loyal enough, things would magically go back to how they were in the early days. But sitting there, with that journal in her hands, she understood something she had never truly allowed herself to admit. Kody wasn't coming back. The marriage wasn't coming back. Her place in the family wasn't coming back. And the woman she used to be, the one who bent until she broke, wasn't coming back either. That was the night Meri cried. Not the small tears she wiped away during filming, not the quiet sniffles in confessionals. Real tears. The kind that come from decades of hurt catching up all at once. But here's the important part, she didn't cry because she was sad. She cried because she was finally letting go. And when the tears stopped, Meri made a decision that would set everything into motion. She closed the journal, she straightened her shoulders, and she whispered to herself, "I deserve better than this." It was the first time she had ever said it out loud. From that moment, everything changed. Her energy shifted. Her mindset shifted. Her plans shifted. And for the first time in years, she wasn't thinking about how her actions would affect Kody, or Robin, or the show, or the family dynamics. She was thinking only about herself. That night became the spark that led to the major life change she finally revealed, the moment fans are still trying to process. But what exactly did Meri decide? What did she walk away from? What did she step into? And why did she wait so long to say it publicly? The answer is even more powerful than the announcement itself. After that night of realization, Meri started making quiet moves, small decisions that didn't seem dramatic at first, but looking back, they were the clearest signs of the transformation she was stepping into. These weren't emotional impulses. They weren't public statements or dramatic posts online. These were private choices, made with intention, made with clarity, and made with a strength Meri hadn't shown in years. The first move was simple but powerful. She stopped answering messages from people who only contacted her when they needed something. For the first time, Meri created emotional distance from the relationships that drained her. That included certain family members, certain friends, and even certain people from the show. The second move was even more unexpected. Meri began attending workshops and retreats quietly. She didn't announce it. She didn't post about it. But she was showing up to places focused on healing, personal development, and spiritual grounding. And the people who saw her there said she wasn't the sad, uncertain woman they remembered. She looked determined. Calm. Focused. Like someone finally writing a new story after living in someone else's for far too long. But the third move was the one that turned heads. Meri took a trip out of state, alone. No cameras. No staff. No family members hovering around. Some fans thought she was visiting a friend. Some thought it was business. Others suspected it was a scouting trip for something bigger. But when she returned, she looked different, lighter, like she had left more than luggage behind. And then came the fourth move, an even quieter one. Meri began setting boundaries with Kody. Not loud arguments. Not scripted scenes for the show. Just a steady refusal to be ignored or dismissed anymore. Every time he spoke over her, she stopped responding. Every time he minimized her feelings, she pulled away. Every time he blamed her, she simply didn't absorb it. It wasn't defiance. It wasn't anger. It was acceptance. And that acceptance was the beginning of her freedom. But behind all these small moves, one question was forming: what exactly was Meri preparing for? And why did she look so certain, so centered, as if she already knew what was coming next? Because she did. The major life change Meri eventually announced wasn't a spur-of-the-moment decision. It wasn't a reaction to one argument, one episode, or one emotional breakdown. It was a plan. A plan she had been building quietly, carefully, without anyone realizing it. And when fans finally heard what she had done, it wasn't the shock of chaos. It was the shock of strength. The kind of shock that makes you whisper, finally. And yet, the most surprising part of all was still ahead, the real reason Meri made this decision now, after so many years of waiting, hoping, and holding on. A reason that no fan could have predicted. The final push that led Meri to reveal her major life change didn't come from Kody, or Robin, or TLC. It came from someone fans never expected, someone who has quietly watched Meri's entire journey without ever speaking up publicly. It came from her own child. People close to Meri say the conversation happened late at night, during one of those quiet moments when life feels heavier than usual. Meri had been sitting with Leon, talking about the same topics that always came up: the past, the marriage, the show, the pain she'd carried for years. But this time, the energy in the room was different. Leon wasn't just listening. They were waiting, almost studying her, like they could see something Meri still couldn't. And then Leon said something that hit her harder than anything Kody ever said to her, harder than any argument, harder than any passive-aggressive comment she absorbed for years without defending herself. They said, "Mom, you've been surviving for so long, but you're not living. And you deserve to live." That one sentence broke something open in Meri. Not in a painful way, but in a deeply honest one. Because hearing it from her own child, someone who grew up watching the cracks, the tears, the silences, the forced smiles, made the truth impossible to avoid. Meri wasn't living. She was enduring. She was existing. She was holding on to a life that no longer held her. And for the first time, she realized that her pain wasn't just affecting her, it was affecting the people who loved her most. Leon wasn't telling her to leave or to stay. They were telling her she deserved more. And hearing that from someone who had seen the worst parts of this family dynamic pulled Meri into a moment of pure clarity. That night, after their conversation ended, Meri did something she hadn't done in years. She stood in front of her bathroom mirror, looked at herself directly, and asked a question she'd never dared to ask before: what if I built a life that didn't revolve around waiting for someone else to change? That question was the key. The next morning, Meri started making calls. She reached out to people she trusted. She contacted lawyers. She contacted a financial advisor. She contacted someone connected to a new business opportunity she had been quietly considering for months. And she contacted the person who owned the property she had visited during her out-of-state trip. Everything was already in motion. She had just been too scared to admit it. Leon's words didn't start her journey, they unlocked it. And slowly, fans began noticing Meri's confidence shift in a way they couldn't explain. Her voice was firmer. Her presence stronger. Her decisions clearer. It wasn't bitterness. It wasn't revenge. It wasn't running away. It was rising. But what exactly did Meri do next? What life change was so big that it left fans stunned when she finally announced it? That's where the story takes a surprising turn, because the truth behind Meri's decision is bigger than anyone expected. Meri's next steps were bold, but the most shocking part is how quietly she made them. While the world assumed she was still trapped in the same painful loop, Meri was building something behind the scenes, something strong, something independent, and something completely outside the Brown family shadow. The first major step came when Meri met with a real estate agent. Not in Flagstaff. Not in Parawan. Not in any of the familiar places tied to her past. She met them hours away, in a new town where nobody recognized her, nobody whispered about sister wives, and nobody saw her as Kody's neglected wife. She was just Meri. And for the first time in years, she let herself imagine a life that wasn't connected to that old identity. A life where she wasn't waiting for Kody to acknowledge her. A life where she wasn't fighting for a place in a family that stopped seeing her. A life where she wasn't the afterthought. She toured a small, peaceful property. A cozy home surrounded by trees, with quiet streets and neighbors who waved without knowing her story. No cameras. No judgment. No emotional heaviness. The kind of place people go when they are finally ready to breathe again. Something inside her clicked. She didn't tell anyone about the visit. She didn't post a photo. She didn't hint at it online. She kept it to herself, sacred, silent, hers. The second step came just days later. Meri contacted the owner of the property again. But she didn't ask about a rental. She didn't ask about availability for a short stay. She asked one question that changed everything: what would it take to make this mine? Those words were her first true act of independence in years. Not symbolic independence. Not emotional independence. Real, life-changing independence. She negotiated. She researched. She consulted a financial expert. She moved with precision, clarity, and a confidence fans had never seen from her before. But the third step was the one no one expected. Meri began quietly shifting her business operations. She arranged a transfer. She updated addresses. She filed paperwork. All without anyone realizing that she was preparing for a major relocation, a relocation she was determined to complete before the media or the family knew what she was planning. And while she was making all these moves, Kody had no idea. Not a clue. He thought Meri was still in the same holding pattern, the same emotional space she had always been in. He assumed she would stay in place, frozen in the same cycle. He underestimated her. But fans still didn't understand what Meri was preparing for, not until she made the one decision that would shake the entire Sister Wives audience and make headlines instantly. She wasn't just moving. She was starting over. And she was doing it completely on her own terms. What Meri revealed next didn't just surprise fans. It stunned them. The announcement finally came on a quiet morning, without warning, without build-up, and without the usual polished, careful tone Meri used in the past. No dramatic video. No long explanation. Just one simple message that stopped the entire Sister Wives audience in their tracks. Meri posted a photo of her standing in front of a small house, not the B&B, not her old home, not any familiar background fans recognized. She was smiling, not the forced smile she had practiced for years, but a genuine one. A smile that showed peace and strength. Her caption was only 8 words long, but those 8 words changed everything. I'm starting the rest of my life here. That was it. No hashtags. No location tag. No cryptic quotes. No vague commentary. Just a clear, confident declaration of a new beginning. Fans stared at their screens, reading the caption again and again, trying to understand what they were really looking at. Was this a vacation spot? Was this a rental? Was she visiting a friend? Was it a setup for a business project? No. It was something far bigger. Within minutes, people began noticing the details in the picture. A key in her hand. A welcome mat that looked brand new. A door with no familiar design. A background with no trace of her past life. And most importantly, the glow on her face. A glow she had not shown in over a decade. Then Meri went live. Her voice was steady. Calm. Clear. She took a deep breath and said words that made thousands of fans gasp out loud. I did something for myself. Something big. I bought this home on my own, and I'm moving into it alone. No cameras. No family. No noise. Just me. The chat exploded instantly. You bought a house? Meri, what? Is this real? Are you leaving Flagstaff for good? Wait, alone? OMG, she did it. Meri nodded softly, and then she continued with a level of honesty fans weren't prepared for. For so long, I held on to a version of my life that didn't exist anymore. I kept waiting for change that wasn't going to happen. I kept telling myself I needed to stay because of the family, because of the show, because of expectations. But I realized something. I don't owe my life to those expectations. She paused, letting her words breathe. I owe my life to myself. Fans felt that. They felt every word. Because Meri wasn't just moving to a new home, she was moving out of the emotional prison she had lived in for years. She continued, saying something that made the moment even more powerful. This isn't about running away. This is about running toward myself. For the first time in a long time, I feel free. That one sentence broke the internet. Free. A word fans had wished for her, begged for her, whispered to their screens for years. And now she was saying it herself, with a smile, with confidence, with a new chapter in front of her. But what truly stunned fans wasn't the house. It was what Meri revealed next, something no one expected, something that added even more depth to her transformation, something personal that she had kept hidden until now. What Meri shared next wasn't about real estate, or finances, or the show. It was something far more personal, something she had guarded for years, something even longtime fans never saw coming. After announcing her new home, Meri took a long breath, looked down for a moment, and then said quietly, I didn't just move into this house. I built this chapter with someone who believes in me. The comments froze. Someone who believes in her? Someone new? A partner? A mentor? A friend? Nobody knew. But the tone of her voice was different, soft, but steady, almost relieved. Meri continued, making it clear she wasn't talking about romance, not yet, not in the way people were assuming. She clarified something that made the moment even more emotional. For so long, my life was defined by what I was losing. Now, it's defined by what I'm gaining. And yes, I've let someone in. Someone who reminds me that my worth doesn't depend on anyone else's approval. The reaction from fans was instant. People were crying, celebrating, sending messages of support. Some were shocked. Others were relieved. But most of all, they were proud. Because for the first time in years, Meri wasn't standing alone in her pain, she was standing with someone who uplifted her. She didn't give a name. She didn't give a title. She didn't offer any details. And that silence was intentional. This part of my life is private, she said. Not secret, just mine. And that statement was powerful. Not secret, just hers. A boundary Meri had never confidently drawn before. Then she shared something even more unexpected. I've been working with a guide, someone who helps people rebuild after major life changes. And they asked me a question that changed everything. They said, Meri, what would your life look like if you stopped waiting for permission? She looked directly into the camera. And I realized. I've been waiting for permission my entire adult life. Permission to be heard. Permission to be valued. Permission to leave. Permission to grow. Permission to start over. And now she wasn't waiting anymore. Fans were stunned. Not because Meri had a guide or emotional support, but because she admitted openly that she finally believed she deserved it. Then she revealed the part of her journey that truly shocked everyone. She said, before I made this decision, I spent a lot of nights wondering if I was doing the right thing. Wondering if I was making a mistake. Wondering if I was being selfish. But then someone I trust said something I couldn't ignore. They told me, the only mistake you've made is staying small for people who benefited from you being quiet. And that's when everything changed. Meri broke her silence. Meri broke her pattern. Meri broke the version of herself that the family, and even viewers, had gotten used to. And now, fans wanted to know one thing, if Meri was no longer living for the past. What was she planning for her future? After the shock of Meri's announcement settled, fans realized something. This wasn't just a move, or a new house, or a new chapter. This was a complete shift in the way Meri saw herself. For the first time, she wasn't talking about rebuilding from pain. She was talking about building towards something meaningful, something intentional, something fully hers. And that's when she revealed the part of her journey that truly surprised everyone, the part no one expected, not even her closest followers. Meri had been working on something privately for almost a year. Something she never shared online, never hinted about, never teased in a video. It was a dream she had carried silently, tucked away while the chaos of her marriage and family life consumed everything else. She finally said it out loud, "I'm building something new. Something that reflects who I am now, not who I used to be." Fans held their breath. Was it a new business? A retreat center? A coaching program? A brand? A foundation? Nobody knew. Meri continued. "I spent so many years trying to make myself small to fit into a space that was never meant for me. Now I'm creating a space that fits me." And then she said something even more powerful. "I'm opening a place where people can reconnect with themselves. A place where healing isn't a secret, it's a starting point." The comments exploded instantly. A healing center? A retreat? A sanctuary? Whatever it was, fans knew it was deeply personal to Meri, because healing is exactly what she's been needing for years. But Meri held back the final details. She wasn't ready to announce everything just yet. What she did share was enough to shake the entire Sister Wives audience to its core. "I used to think I needed permission to dream. I don't think that anymore. I'm dreaming for myself now." Then she paused, looked down, and added something that made thousands of fans emotional. "When I left the old house behind, I left the old version of myself behind too. That woman spent years waiting for someone to choose her. This woman is choosing herself." It wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't spiteful. It was peaceful and final. She clarified something fans didn't see coming. "I'm not running from my past. I'm honoring it by no longer living in it." That single sentence was more powerful than any fight, any episode, or any televised moment from the show. Because Meri wasn't just stepping away from her old life. She was stepping into a future she designed with intention, clarity, and courage. And fans couldn't shake the same question: if Meri was truly ready to live for herself, without fear and without hesitation, what would she do next? The answer was coming, and it would be bigger than anything she had revealed so far. The final part of Meri's announcement came later that evening, when she posted a quiet, reflective video from her new home. No dramatic angles. No dramatic music. Just Meri, sitting calmly by a window, speaking with a peace that fans had never heard in her voice before. She looked around the room for a moment, the room she chose, the room she paid for, the room that symbolized everything she had worked toward silently, and she began speaking softly. "I want to thank everyone who stayed with me during the hardest years of my life. The people who saw me even when I felt invisible. The people who believed in me when I didn't believe in myself." She smiled gently. "But I also want to be honest with you. I don't know what the future holds. I don't know where this journey is going to take me next. But what I do know is that I'm finally walking into that future with the right version of myself." She paused, letting that sink in. "For so long, I made choices from a place of fear. Fear of being alone. Fear of being judged. Fear of disappointing people. Fear of losing a family that had already let go of me." Her voice didn't shake this time. It wasn't sad. It was strong, grounded, healed. "I'm not afraid anymore." Fans flooded the comments with support. People wrote messages like, "We're proud of you, you deserve happiness, and this is your time." Thousands shared the video, calling it Meri's strongest moment ever. And then Meri shared the real reason she was finally ready to reveal her transformation. She said, "I used to think my story ended when certain people walked out of my life. But now I understand something. Sometimes the story actually begins when they leave." It was powerful. It was raw. And it was true. She wasn't angry. She wasn't resentful. She wasn't looking for justice or revenge. She simply found herself. And to close her message, Meri offered one final thought, a sentence that brought fans to tears. "I hope my journey reminds someone out there that it's never too late to choose yourself. Not at 20. Not at 40. Not at 50. Not ever. You're allowed to start your life again, even if you're the last person to believe in it. As the video ended, fans realized this wasn't just a major life change. This was Meri's rebirth. Her independence. Her peace. Her future. Her voice. Meri Brown had finally done the one thing everyone hoped she would do for years. She stepped out of the shadows and into her own life. And for the first time, fans weren't shocked because of drama. They were shocked because Meri finally chose happiness.